On one hand, we lost a key receiver, but on the other hand, help is arriving. Bulls on parade. We have two big updates today. First, we traded for a wideout who caught 6 touchdowns last year. Second, a second-year weapon with 2 touchdowns just returned to practice. I will reveal who they are in a bit. Watch until the end. Subscribe for 4,000 and comment you're watching City. Kayshon Boutte is our new target following an urgent front office move to bolster the receiving room after the devastating news that Jayden Higgins suffered a season-ending torn ACL in practice. I was looking forward to seeing that rookie develop, but the reality of the league is that depth charts change in a heartbeat. To get Boutte, we traded away safety Jaylen Reed along with a future 7th-round pick originally acquired from the Saints. Honestly, my first reaction was tempered by the immediate loss of a defensive piece, but we have to address the offense right now. Boutte is coming off a 2025 campaign where he tallied 33 receptions, 551 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He brings a level of consistency we desperately needed to plug the gap. And I'll be straight with you, this move feels like a calculated gamble. I like his production, but he is in the final year of his contract, which leaves us with some uncertainty about his long-term future here. Is this the real deal, or are we just throwing a band-aid on a massive hole in our roster? Don't get me wrong, I'm excited to see what he brings to the slot and his ability to move the chains, but let's not crown him the savior of our passing attack just yet. We still have Jalen, Pitre, and Calen Bullock holding down the back end of our secondary, which gives me some confidence that we can absorb the loss of Reed without our defensive intensity dipping too much. The front office managed to give up minimal draft capital, yet the pressure is now on Boutte to prove he can perform under this new system. With that expiring deal looming, I find myself wondering if he is just a rental or if he has a permanent spot in our future plans. How does a 7th-round pick and a safety depth piece turn into our answer at receiver? Losing Jayden Higgins to a torn ACL feels like a punch to the gut, especially with how much time he logged on the field this summer. The front office clearly prioritized immediate proven production to keep our offense humming, turning to a guy in Kayshon Boutte who knows how to move the chains. And honestly, the risk here is visible since he is playing out the final year of his deal. Does this move actually provide enough stability for a full season, or is the front office just plugging a gap before reassessing everything in the spring? I recall watching him work for New England, and he possesses a reliable pair of hands that should translate well to our scheme while our younger targets find their footing. His 2025 stat line of 551 yards shows he can handle a workload, but we have to be realistic about his limited time on our roster. Moving Jaylen Reed is a tough pill to swallow for our secondary depth, yet I trust our staff to manage the rotation between Jalen, Pitre, and Calen Bullock without losing an edge in coverage. Our coaching staff knows they need high snap counts from every available body, and adding a player with Boutte's experience is a calculated trade-off for a secondary room that remains well-stocked. Is he a long-term piece or just a rental for a championship push? I'm excited to see if he can thrive in the slot, but I want to pump the brakes on the hype until he catches his first touchdown in our colors. The front office made their choice to sacrifice draft capital for present-day reliability, and now it is time to see if that gamble pays off on the gridiron. Moving right along to another critical update for our squad, wide receiver Jaylin Noel has officially returned to full participation in our practice sessions. After being sidelined for nearly 2 weeks, seeing him back out there working at full speed provides a welcome boost to our receiving corps. We all know the pressure is mounted following the unfortunate season-ending injury to Jayden Higgins, and the uncertainty surrounding who will claim that vital role opposite Pro Bowler Nico Collins remains a hot topic among our fan base. Is Jalen the one to finally step up and claim that spot? I'm excited to see him back, but I want to pump the brakes a little because he needs to rebuild his stamina and consistency before we assume he is ready for a massive target share. During his 2025 campaign, Noel primarily served as a reliable piece on special teams, totaling 26 catches for 292 yards and 2 touchdowns, but now he is tasked with a much larger offensive burden. Coach DeMeco Ryans mentioned that Noel is doing a good job of bouncing back, noting the importance of getting him extra reps to regain his form. Here's what people are missing though. As Jaylen himself stated, it is not going to be just one guy who changes our trajectory, but a collective effort from the entire group to produce. He feels his confidence is sky high, and frankly, we need that swagger right now. I have watched this kid put in the work, and while he is clearly hungry to make an impact, I keep wondering if his transition from a special teams role to a starting receiver will be as smooth as he expects. Regardless of how the rotation shakes out, having him healthy and back on the grass is a positive development for our depth chart. Returning to the field full-time marks a critical turning point for Jaylin Noel, especially as he looks to seize a larger portion of the snap counts vacated by his injured teammates. With the receiving room currently scrambling to identify who will operate alongside Pro Bowler Nico Collins, having a familiar face back in the mix is objectively a win for our offense. And this is the part that gets me though. While the coaching staff is clearly pushing for him to build up his stamina, is he truly ready to handle the physical demands of an expanded workload on the perimeter? The argument for his success rests on his proven ability to find gaps in coverage. Yet relying on a player who spent most of 2025 contributing on special teams units remains a significant gamble for a playoff contending team. I'm optimistic, but I also want to pump the brakes a little until we see him actually dominate the intermediate routes during actual game situations. Many analysts around the league are debating whether players like Noel or even our recent arrival Kayshon Boutte have the necessary ceiling to replace the production we lost. And honestly, the uncertainty surrounding that number 2 spot is becoming a major focal point for our fan base. My honest take here is that Noel brings an essential level of reliability that could stabilize the group, provided he stays healthy throughout this brutal stretch of the schedule. Does he have the explosive playmaking ability to change the trajectory of our entire season? Or is he merely a solid depth piece that provides necessary injury insurance? Seeing him grind through full-speed reps is exactly the development we needed to see right now, even if the road to becoming a consistent weekly starter is still quite long. When you put both of today's stories together, here's the picture that emerges for the Houston Texans. Our front office is working overtime to maintain offensive rhythm despite facing harsh realities in the trenches. Swapping safety depth for a veteran like Kayshon Boutte highlights a shift toward immediate proven reliability, while Jaylin Noel returning to the practice field provides a much-needed morale boost. What makes this even bigger is how these moves signal a clear intention to protect our postseason window regardless of injury setbacks. By securing a receiver who produced 6 touchdowns last season, we have effectively mitigated the sting of losing Jayden Higgins. Though I am curious if this rental will truly stick long-term. Are you confident that trading away defensive secondary talent for short-term wide receiver help is a winning trade-off? Or are we leaving ourselves exposed in the backfield? Furthermore, with Jaylin Noel now back in the mix and feeling his confidence is at an all-time high, do you believe he has the necessary upside to lead our passing game alongside Nico Collins? Or is he better suited as a secondary rotation piece? I genuinely want to hear what you think about these specific roster adjustments down in the comments, because your perspective helps shape how we look at this transition. I am personally leaning toward trusting this strategy, but I acknowledge that the lack of long-term contract stability with our new arrival is a factor we cannot simply ignore. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. I am still pushing toward our first 4,000 subscribers, and every one of you helps me get there. Bulls on parade. I will see you in the next one.